we put out an ad in our first sting operation. We put out an ad for a 12-year-old girl, either 12 or 13-year-old girl. I think it was 12. And it was a local ad. And in 30 days, there were 5,000 responses to that ad to come and rape a 12-year-old girl. And that was in Connecticut. And law enforcement there were like, my God, when we arrested, I think 5 there on that first operation in 3 days. And they said, man, we would have never guessed that this many predators. And that was 5 arrests with a 100% conviction rate, one of whom was a federal agent for the IRS. He had been FBI before, and then went to the Treasury Department, IRS. And, so we see that there's all kinds. You can't look at a pedophile and judge a book by its cover, really, in that sense, because evil can find itself into the heart of any weak-charactered man who's not strong with Jesus Christ. And
have you been surprised by some of the people that you've seen participate?
Oh yeah. One guy was an elder in the FLDS church, and he was a bus driver in Utah. And we'd gotten notification from his family members that he raped children, lots of children, all the time. And he came to rape 2 girls in our sting operation. And we arrested him. He should have been put away for life and never to rape again. But my understanding is that a judge decided, oh, he's old, what harm could he do, and let him back out fairly early. Even though we were convicted, it had him for like 30 years to life.
Yeah.
Due to the evidence, the overwhelming mountain of evidence we had, complete conviction. So we cannot have crooked judges releasing child rapists, folks. We've got to drop the hammer on these judges. And George Soros, they won't let anybody say it. Like Newt Gingrich got cut off on Fox News when he started revealing to the American populace, most of whom already know, that George Soros funds district attorneys around the country. He funds their campaigns when they are of his mindset that they would not ever prosecute child sex crimes. And a lot of them, quite frankly, would not prosecute arson, looting, riot type of crimes either, because they're radical leftists and they're on board with whatever George Soros's dark and evil, wicked campaign and his agenda is. So, there was an active duty Army recruiter that came. There was a man that was husband, father, that was up skiing with his, wife and 2 children. He came down in a minivan, left his wife and children up at the ski resort, came down in the minivan with 2 little car seats in the back.
Mm-hmm.
And, and he tried to run when he realized he was caught. And of course he didn't get very far, but it was heartbreaking to see how many people had families that they hadn't considered, wife, children at home. We've had several of these perpetrators' families call us and thank us for arresting them. And that's something I didn't expect. That was a surprise. It was kind of a heavy thing, very emotionally impacting to have somebody's wife or children say, hey, you know what? Thank you for stopping him. And we didn't know. And, it's just, you got to do it. You got to stop the predator from destroying, countless children. And here's something that is important to know. The average number of children that a pedophile rapes throughout their lifetime is 70. The best they can estimate, it's 70, because some of them many of them like to work themselves into positions of unsupervised access to children, like a coach, Sunday school teacher, scout leader, those kinds of positions. And then they abuse those positions and ruin the public trust by raping the children. But sometimes they never get caught, and it's hundreds of children, 200 or 300 children. and some get caught very early on. So the average is 70 children each. So every child predator we arrest and put in a cell to rape no more saves countless children from being raped and destroyed. And when we interview the surviving victims, it's heartbreaking to hear the level of psychological and emotional trauma that brought upon them. Many of them kill themselves over it. They
Yeah.
just the damage done, and they can't reconcile it. They can't wrap their mind around why would somebody do that to them when they did nothing wrong. They were undeserving of it. And but the ones that survive it can articulate in their adulthood what they could not articulate when they were a child, and that's that it was absolutely devastating, and it changes the way I perceive everything now.
Yeah.
So their way of relating to a spouse, whether it's male or female, after that is different because of what they experienced.
Yeah.
You know, it's a daily fight and struggle with these people, and we have to culturally rise up and turn against this and say, hey, this is not something that can be allowed here anymore.
Catch new episodes of Indie Thinker with Reed Uberman for free right now by going to YouTube or Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts. Simply type Indie Thinker with Reed Uberman in the search bar and click on my face. Don't forget to like, rate, and subscribe to stay informed when a new episode drops.